Coming up on Cronkite NewsWatch.
With graduation just around the corner, more Arizona students are expected to receive their diploma than ever before. But how does the state stack up against the rest of the country?
Plus, there's a new law designed to save the lives of newborn babies. We'll introduce you to the parents who say their son is alive thanks to these required screenings.
We're bringing you team coverage from the Arizona State Capitol.
I've got your update on new safety alerts that'll be coming to your cell phone.
And worker safety has been a topic of discussion this legislative session. We'll have more for you
Coming up next.
In-depth, insightful, innovative. Cronkite NewsWatch starts right now.
The national high school graduation rate has reached 80% for the first time in our history. Good evening, I'm Brittany Bade.
And I'm Crystal Story. Thanks for joining us. The new report out today shows improvement, but it's not all good news. Cronkite News reporter Kimberly Hariza joins us live in the Media Center. Kimberly, what does the report say and how did Arizona do?
More students nationally are completing their secondary education, but Arizona still falls behind the national average. 'Tis the season for caps, gowns, and diplomas.
I think everyone realizes that you can't do much in this world without a high school education, and in fact, our district, as well as most districts, are pushing a college career in life.
But still, 1 of every 5 students nationwide doesn't graduate.
It could be an early pregnancy, it could be a broken home, it could be relocation, it could be economics, and a student just has to go out and work to support their family.
Arizona is up 1% from last year, but that's still below the national average for graduation rates.
Our economy really took a harder hit and has taken longer for it to recover. We are a border state, so we tend to have a high level of citizens who are here who may not have English be their primary language.
One factor too in Arizona is that you don't have to go to school after the age of 16. Some states it's 18.
Arizona graduation requirements stipulate that students must pass all 3 Ames tests. Arizona authorities say they will continue to increase the number who do. U.S. Department of Education, the graduation rate could hit 90% by 2020 if the states keep up this pace of improvement. Live in the Media Center, Kimberly Hariza, Cronkite News.
More students may be graduating high school, but teenagers are still having a hard time finding jobs. During the recession, adults filled many of those spots, leaving part-time employment opportunities scarce. Now, the city of Phoenix is trying to make that easier. The Phoenix Workforce Connection provides a summer internship program for 120 young adults between the ages of 16 and 21. Potential employers include Valley businesses like PetSmart, Wells Fargo, and Blue Cross Blue Shield.
You know, this is an opportunity for them to get some cash into their pockets. A lot of kids are also looking to help out and contribute to their family, and then also to save for their school year coming up.
The jobs last for 5 weeks. Teens applying for the internship program are picked randomly from a pool of more than 500 applicants. Wouldn't it be nice if your student loans just magically disappeared? Chances are that won't be happening anytime soon, but a new program is designed to offer you the next best thing. As Cronkite News reporter Brittany Thomason explains, it starts with community service.
Whether you like volunteering with Habitat for Humanity, helping out at the local food bank, or working with the fire department, Joshua Watson and Brendan Pantaleone are trying to make sure giving back comes full circle beyond the good feeling it gives you. How about by helping pay off your education?
It's really important that we really invest in our future so we can have a future and not be burdened by student loan debt.
We feel that students that are doing that should be rewarded.
So Brendan and Joshua came up with Project 12M. They're working with banks to chip away at student loan interest rates by 2%. But only for those who do community service through the program.
In the end, they won't be losing any money by reducing the interest rate because we are providing students that are less of a risk to loan to, and ergo are less of a risk of defaulting and having to reduce their payments.
Wells Fargo is one of the few banks in Arizona still offering student loans. Because there's so few choices, more students are taking out traditional loans. That means they don't have the option to wait until after graduation to start making payments. ASU Financial Aid Services say graduates leave school with an average debt of almost $23,000. Watson says they can't make student loans completely disappear.
They'll still be paying a portion of those back, but not as much as they would have paid because 2% goes a long way.
It's a program that pays off for people who like to pay it forward. In Phoenix, Brittany Thomason, Cronkite News.
Project 12 plans to kick off the program at ASU in spring of 2015.
Well, summer vacation is quickly approaching, but Frontier Airlines has made the change to charge for carry-ons, which might cost you up to $50. The airline now has 2 fares to choose from. Classic Plus includes a checked bag, a carry-on, and it gives bonuses like priority boarding. The economy option only includes your fare. Anything else is extra. The price difference between the two is about $100. Not surprisingly, passengers aren't too excited.
I think that that's outrageous, and I would not fly them for that reason.
Frontier is known for its low prices like Spirit and Allegiant Airlines, but those fares don't include fees for carry-ons, which could be up to $35 for Allegiant and up to $100 for Spirit Airlines. For the first time in a decade, an expanded effort to save babies in our state. A new law requires hospitals to test infants for an additional type of heart defect that can be deadly.
Most new parents just want a healthy baby.
You know, like I said, we thought he was healthy.
But there are thousands of parents like Molly Wright of Mesa, who told us earlier this year about her son's battle with congenital heart defects.
So it was very hard to hear that he would need multiple surgeries.
Congenital heart defects give off almost no physical symptoms.
There's generally no indication that there's a problem, and some of these kids can die.
Which is why advocates of the new bill are happy screening for these defects are now a requirement.
Congenital heart defects are the leading birth defect in babies, and critical congenital heart defects are the leading cause of death during the first year of life. So it's absolutely needed.
Health officials say catching these kinds of defects before infants leave the hospital can be crucial for the baby's survival.
They can be very sick within a matter of days or hours or months. And unfortunately, some of these babies, once they go home, if they're not caught, they may never make it back to the hospital.
Molly's son, Mark, is alive today because his nurse noticed his unusually fast breathing, which prompted a heart screening.
If all children can have that test, it can really save children like it saved our son.
Arizona is now more than one of 30 states requiring newborn screening for congenital heart defects.
You've probably heard of Amber Alerts, the community-wide notification that warns us when a child goes missing and is thought to be in danger. Now that kind of system will be used in other ways here in our state. Cronkite News reporter Hannah Lawrence has more. Hannah?
Crystal, lawmakers passed 2 bills this legislative session that will have your phone ringing more often, but it could save someone's life. The state will partner with broadcasters to provide additional immediate alerts straight to your cell phone. For the first one, the Blue Alert is a mass notification that goes out to law enforcement when a law enforcement officer has been injured or killed. The second one, called a Silver Alert, will make public aware of a missing senior citizen. Lawmakers point to the proven track record of Amber Alerts, which have been in place since 2002.
That's really what the Blue and the Silver Alert system is about, is to have a mechanism by which we can alert the community that somebody who may not be able to make decisions for themselves is at risk.
Some 20 other states have Blue and Silver Alert systems up and running, but police says that it could take up to a year to get our system sending out alerts. Live in downtown Phoenix, Hannah Lawrence, Cronkite News.
Roses at the base of a statue marked as the Passage marked a different event at the Capitol today, a tribute to those who've lost their lives in workplace accidents. Reporter Twelon Nugent attended the memorial and has details on how the state is working to make employees safer.
The scaffold broke and 4 of us, like I said, 4 of us fell and we all got hurt. Luckily, nobody died.
Joe Pernatus was working construction 9 years ago when he fell and sustained serious injuries.
Yeah, I'm hurting right now, have trouble walking still. And
Pernatus feels physical pain and joins others in feeling emotional pain for the lost lives of Arizona workers killed on the job.
I'm just grateful that we have the opportunity to take a minute and think about them and the sacrifices that they've given.
2012 data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics say there were 4,383 worker deaths in the nation. 37 of those were here in Arizona. That's less than 1%. But lawmakers like Representative Debbie McCune Davis says there's still progress to be made for protecting workers.
We want to make sure that when we send somebody off to work in the morning, that they come back to us at the end of the day.
That's why she helped push SB 1307 through the legislature. The bill requires employers to provide fall protection at construction sites at least 6 feet above the ground, a law that would help keep workers safe, something Pernatus is thankful for.
It could have been even worse. The accident could have been worse if we didn't have the protections.
And for those who couldn't be saved, Arizona remembers them. In Phoenix, Twelon Nugent, Cronkite News.
Coming up on Newswatch.
Issues of health and poverty sometimes exist where they can't be seen. This small town hides their struggle.
Virtual reality is being used in sports performance and recovery. You're watching Cronkite NewsWatch. A recent report by the Arizona Department of Health says millions of Arizonans are suffering from health issues that could have been prevented.
Many of those at risk live in rural Arizona.
Cronkite News investigative reporter Jake Stein traveled down to Bisbee for answers.
Nestled in the hills that border Naco, Mexico, 200 miles southeast of Phoenix, is the old mining town of Bisbee. In the late 1800s, these barren hills boasted the spirit of the Old West. When early explorers discovered copper, it soon became known as the Queen of the Copper Camps. But behind the veil of the history and color of this small town lies a big problem.
You don't see poor, unhealthy people on the street. They're a hidden, untouched population, and we really need to work to get to that group of people.
Arizona's Department of Health Services released its first statewide health assessment in February. It lists Bisbee as one of the state's most at-risk communities when it comes to health care. On the unpaved backroads of Bisbee, where children's toys and trash litter the hills that support these decaying homes, I met Clay Edwards and his dog Lily.
I was born here, yeah. Born here, basically off and on raised here. I'm a Bisbee kid.
24 years old, earning $8 an hour in construction, Clay faces a challenge familiar to many residents of rural Arizona. He's medically uninsured.
Let's say you do have an emergency. You need to get care immediately. What do?
Super glue and duct tape.
If you're choosing between dinner for your kids on the table or a copay at the doctor's office or even paying the entire cost of the doctor's visit, people naturally choose their basic living needs.
If something happened to me, I'd pretty much, either starve to death or, something. I don't know. Nobody's going to work for me.
They don't seek out preventive services. They don't have a doctor that they go to, and so they utilize the local emergency rooms.
17% of Arizonans live below the poverty level. Focus in on Arizona's rural communities, and that number rises. In Bisbee, nearly 24% live below the poverty level, which is why emergency rooms like Copper Queen Community Hospital often bear the brunt.
I have a patient that we're sending up to UMC.
Since all these patients are seeking care in these more immediate ways, it's very expensive and a challenge to have trained people ready to meet that need.
The emergency department has only 9 beds, serving Bisbee's population of over 5,000.
The average patient where this is an issue is pretty young. It's very hard for them to imagine that they really do have this health crisis. They could be just trying to make ends meet.
Or maybe they just need to be steered in the right direction.
We have to just continue to figure out how to reach those people. How do we find them? How do we educate them?
Even if I got to dig a ditch, to eat that day, if that's what I got to do, I can do it. At least I can do that.
At least as long as he stays in good health. Health officials tell us that since the Affordable Care Act went into effect, more people have signed up for Arizona's Medicaid program in Cochise County than any county in the state. For the investigative team, I'm Jake Stein, Cronkite News.
Imagine an athlete who has seen the outcome of a game before it happens, or a soldier who fought a future battle overseas while sitting in the doctor's office. Adam Waltz has a story on how scientists are teaching our brains new tricks.
Your brain is your dashboard.
Brain training in front of a light board, and sports training on a computer. Science and sports are in sync, putting the brain through rigorous activities that don't require physical exercise.
The neural lights, the chairs that you sit in, every single thing there is comprehensively, strategically thought of to bring you to a state of better mental or brain health.
The science is neurolongevity, increasing the health and lifespan of the brain. One of the machines used at Triad is the athlete's brain.
The athlete's brain specializes in virtual reality, simulating anything from the battlefield to the football field. It also can help patients who are suffering from chronic pain.
Virtual reality techniques have been used for post-traumatic stress and more basic types of anxiety.
So you're a person that has a fear of flying. You come in, I take you through takeoff, turbulence, landing without leaving my office.
Dr. Wiederhold has worked with Navy SEALs and replicates stressful activities before they happen.
When you go into that virtual world and then eventually into the real world setting, you know that you're able to handle that anxiety that you used to have.
Triad uses ancient techniques such as mineral baths alongside cutting-edge physics like cryogenics.
Post-career with traumatic symptoms or neurological symptoms from playing, or a current athlete who wants to better themselves.
Scientists here say neurolongevity can not only repair the brain, but it can maximize what the brain can do. In Scottsdale, Adam Waltz, Cronkite News.
Triad says neurolongevity is also being used to help children with various types of autism.
Coming up on NewsWatch.
Rescue rates are on the rise at some of the valley's most popular hiking locations. We'll tell you why.
And Jamie has tornadoes in Arizona.
And Adam's trying to keep those triple digits away.
We've got all your weather.
Coming up next.
NewsWatch is one of the really big things I will always remember for the rest of my life.
You're lugging around all of your equipment, you are doing all of the work, and that's what makes it so fulfilling to me.
Being an anchor, I think it's a privilege. I enjoy every moment of it.
Seeing your show on air, it is one of the most surreal feelings ever.
Phoenix firefighters are keeping busy this hiking season, saving a record number of people off of mountains. Cronkite News reporter Cooper Rummel has the story.
83 mountain rescues, and it's only April.
Some people just don't know how treacherous this trail is.
Last year around this time, the total number of mountain rescues was in the low 30s. Park rangers say this year they're called on to help firefighters more frequently, sometimes twice a week.
I'm out on the trail and I will come across somebody that needs help with getting off the mountain. They're not able to walk down.
That process of getting people off the mountain is expensive, risky, and usually avoidable.
Well, the Phoenix Fire Department tells me there's a few things that you absolutely have to have if you want to come up here. First of all, make sure you're wearing the right clothing. Bring a hat to stay shaded and wear the right shoes. Secondly, you need to stay hydrated, so make sure that you have a full bottle of water. But most importantly, you need to have a cell phone.
When somebody calls, they're able to ping the person's cell phone, and so we'll know exactly where they are.
But Pacini says the majority of rescues could be avoided if people just made a plan before their hike.
Call us and we can tell you about the trails. You want to know about the mileage. You want to know how much water you should bring and snacks.
Rescue crews say at least half of those they rescue are from out of state. That's what Fabian Mendoza sees too.
A lot of Canadians, a lot of people from Minnesota, Chicago for some reason.
Phoenix park rangers and firefighters say if the rescue rate continues to climb, they're in for a busy summer. In South Phoenix, Cooper Rummel, Cronkite News.
Cooper tells us rescue crews can't point to one specific reason for this year's increase, but one possibility, a warmer winter means more people on the trails.
Emergency crews are still looking for survivors after a strong storm system moved through the Midwest, taking the lives of at least 16 people. The strongest twister touched down in Arkansas, causing an 80-mile path of destruction. This same storm system moved through Arizona on Saturday, but we didn't see those effects as terrible as they did the Midwest. But you do have to remember that we do see some tornadoes here in Arizona. Back in 2010, 8 tornadoes touched down just outside of Flagstaff, the strongest being an EF3. Even though they are rare, Mark O'Malley of the National Weather Service says we need to be ready.
Some of the thunderstorms under the right conditions at the end specifically of monsoon season, you can get tornadoes in Arizona. Okay. So you always want to be prepared, have an emergency plan for your family just in case something happens.
And Adam, it does look like we have some clear skies right now over Arizona.
Yeah, Arizona's looking clear, but the rest of the nation, they're still dealing with those tornadoes. Still some cells coming in around the Midwest here. As you can see, that Arkansas area. Missouri also had some tornado warnings earlier today, while you can see us all the way over here. We're just sitting pretty. We had those clouds pass right through this weekend, and now we are clear as day. Looking around the valley, wind speeds are going to be slow to pick up. 15 miles an hour right now in Phoenix, 17 up in Prescott, 15 down in Tucson. Expect those to gather more speed coming into the week, and we could see into the 40s, 50s mile-an-hour winds. But right now, 86, pretty cool. Sunset just after 7 p.m. tonight. And like I said, clear skies throughout the week. We're going to jump back up to normal after a cool weekend later in the week. But on Wednesday, we're looking for wind. And like I said, you got to keep it right here to check that wind. It could be up, like I said, up in the 40s, 50 mile-an-hour winds. And then by Saturday, well, we could see some triple digits. So things are going to heat back up. There's your forecast. I'm Adam Waltz, Cronkite Weather.
The first 2 weeks of the NBA playoffs have been as competitive and exciting as ever before, but unfortunately a dark cloud of ignorance has cast an ugly shadow over the bright lights of brilliance. As everyone knows by now, the racial comments thought to be made by Los Angeles Clippers owner Don Sterling have taken over the 24-hour news cycle, and it seems it will only subside when Commissioner Adam Silver decides Sterling's fate. And the NBA announced today it will hold a news conference tomorrow before tip-off of Game 5. But amidst the craziness, there was Game 4 that went down. The Clips taking a unified stand on the matter, taking off their team warm-ups and placing them in midcourt. Seemed like they also placed their motivation there too. But Steph Curry, nice move, flips it in. Everyone, come and see how good I look. The circus shot. Warriors up 19. Now Curry again, just showing off, bangs the three. He scored 33 points, and the Warriors run away with it 118-97 to even the series at 2 games apiece. Here's Coach Doc Rivers after the game.
I know what's going on. I get it. But, you know, we still have a job to do, and we didn't do our jobs tonight. And so I think it starts at the top, and it starts with me.
Now, no question, Doc Rivers is having strong feelings about all this, even declining to meet with Sterling. And I know, Ryan, you talked to a few people, and they seem just as upset.
That's right, Louie, and it's understandable. When you hear remarks like this, you can't help but have some sort of emotional response. But what I was really interested in is, what does this say about our society as a whole?
Despicable, I think, to most people.
This is a dehumanizing act.
As contentious as the comments were, some could make the argument that Donald Sterling was simply exercising his First Amendment rights.
Freedom of speech is a beautiful thing. It exists in this country.
But minority advocate Jahan Jones says the rights have limits.
I will say that Donald Sterling has the freedom to say whatever he wants. I don't know that he has the freedom to own an NBA team while he says whatever he wants.
Michael Whitaker, director of Arizona State University's Center for the Study of Race and Democracy, was more than shocked.
Stunned and angry that someone who employs so many African Americans in particular, who resides in such a diverse city, would say such things.
The players will keep playing, but will the people of Los Angeles send a message?
I suppose boycotting is really the only thing the fans could do, particularly if Donald Sterling reserves his legal right to own the team.
I think that every neighborhood in Greater Los Angeles should clear out and go to the Staples Center and show up and let everybody know that this is their team. When you're an owner of a team like that, you are a steward of a community. And that steward has now breached the trust, which will never come back.
Now, the entire league waits for the NBA to come back with a decision. Ryan Foote, Cronkite Sports.
Now, the off-quoted Robert Frost once said, "Home is the place where when you have to go there, they have to take you in." And I'm not certain Mr. Frost is a favorite poet of Diamondback fans at the moment. The D-backs were 2-12 at Chase Field, heading into the final game of a 3-game series against the Phillies, and it got worse. D-backs fans, earmuffs. First inning, Chase Utley lifts it to left center. You're going to get it. No, you're going to get it. No, no one's going to get it. Falls in. Phillies take an early 1-0 lead. They tack on another in the 6th, and that's all they would need with A.J. Burnett pitching. Chris Owings, no soup for you. Burnett, 8 scoreless innings, 8 strikeouts, and they shut out the Diamondbacks 2-0. The Diamondbacks have been held scoreless in their last 15 innings and fall to 8-20 on the season. 8-20 on the season. I know it's early, but it's still 8-20 on the season.
And I think we've talked about it. Isn't this their worst start in franchise history, right?
It is, and it doesn't look like it's getting any better.
Well, it's a long season.
It is a long season. We're hoping they can make up for it. That's it for Cronkite NewsWatch tonight. Don't forget, we're always on the web. Just head to CronkiteNewsOnline.com.
Thanks for joining us. Good night.